The hunt begins. The cold metal floor felt like ice against Lyra's bare feet. Her hands were tied, and her body was weak. She had not eaten for 2 days. The air smelled like rust and smoke. The alien ship that took her was old, dirty, and full of strange noises. Lyra was not a fighter. She was from a peaceful planet called Virilia, where people lived in forests and grew glowing fruits. Her people didn't believe in war. But the galaxy had changed. Big empires were growing. Weak planets were being taken. And Virilia was attacked. She was captured during a raid. Her family was gone. Her village was burning. She remembered the screams, the fire, the sky full of black ships. Now, she was being sold like an object. She sat inside a small cage. In a dark room filled with other cages, empty now. One by one, others had been sold. And now it was her turn. Door opened. Heavy boots echoed. Tall figure entered. A human. Lyra froze. She had heard stories about humans. Monsters, they said. Wild beasts from the blue planet called Earth. It was said they ate alien flesh and drank blood. That they smiled while killing. This one didn't smile. His face was calm, quiet. His eyes looked serious. He wore a dark spacesuit with silver lines. A weapon hung from his side. His skin was rough. His voice was deep. How much for this one? The human asked the seller. Rare type, said the trader. She's from Virilia. Fragile, but intelligent. The human looked at her for a long time. She looks scared, he said. She should be, the seller laughed. Humans like you are scary. The human didn't laugh. He just nodded and paid. In minutes, Lyra was pulled from her cage and pushed toward the human's ship. She walked slowly, her legs shaking. She didn't understand why he bought her. What would he do? Hurt her, experiment on her. She was taken into a cleaner ship, more modern, quiet. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss. The human untied her hands but didn't speak. He guided her to a small room, a soft bed, clean clothes, water. She looked at him with fear. He said just one line. You are safe here. Then he left. Lyra sat on the bed, too afraid to move. She didn't trust him. This was part of the trap, maybe. Game before death. She didn't drink the water. She didn't eat the food. Time passed. Hours, maybe. She didn't sleep. Later, he came again. Quietly, he brought warm food. Left it, sat across the room. Eat, he said. Need strength. She didn't touch it. Do you understand me? He asked. She nodded. What's your name? She stayed silent. He didn't press. Shh. Mine is Ray. Commander Ray Thorne. From Earth, Lyra stared at him, still silent. In her mind, she kept repeating, he's a human, killer, a beast. Ray stood and walked toward a small shelf, picked something, a small device, turned and walked toward her. Her heart raced. Was it a weapon? A shock tool? But it was just a small medical scanner. He gently scanned her body, checking her injuries. A soft beep, then he stepped back. No major damage, he said. Just tired, dehydrated. Lee placed a blanket near her feet and walked out. For a moment, Lyra sat still. Then tears filled her eyes. She hadn't cried when her home burned. She hadn't cried when she was taken. But now, this strange human, his kindness confused her. Why wasn't he hurting her? Why was he being gentle? That night, she couldn't sleep. Her mind was full of questions. What did he want from her? Why did he save her? In the middle of the night, she got up, walked quietly. She wanted to learn more. Maybe escape. She found a hallway full of blinking lights and soft hums. The ship was alive, moving through space. She entered a small control room. There she saw something on a table, a knife, a sharp, clean, shining knife. Her blood turned cold. She picked it up slowly, not to attack, but to protect herself. Suddenly, she heard steps. He was coming. She panicked. She dropped the knife and backed into the wall. Ray entered, his face calm, but his eyes sharp. He saw the knife. He looked at her. She whispered, "You're going to kill me?" aren't you?" He didn't answer right away. Then he stepped forward, picked up the knife, and held it in front of her. She closed her eyes, but instead of pain she felt freedom. The knife cut her arm shackles. One by one, softly, carefully, Ray said nothing. Then he turned and walked away, leaving her free. The cold shackles were gone, but Lyra still felt like a prisoner. She sat alone in the quiet room, staring at her hands now free. The metal cuffs had left red marks on her wrists. Her body was free, but her mind was still trapped in fear. Why did he let her go? Why did the humans show mercy? Ray hadn't spoken much. He had removed her chains, nodded once, and left. No threats, no orders, no punishment. It made no sense. Lyra walked slowly to the small round window in the corner of the room. Outside, the stars moved like rivers of light. The ship was traveling fast, crossing sectors her people had only heard about in stories. She pressed her hand to the glass. Is this real? Or another trick? The door behind her hissed open. She jumped. Ray walked in holding a tray. It had food again, fresh, warm, not poisoned. A soft fruit, some bread, and clean water. "I brought breakfast," he said. She didn't speak. Ray placed the tray on the table. "I know you're afraid. I don't blame you." Still silence. "I'm not here to hurt you," he added. Lyra's voice finally came out, low and shaky. "Then why did you buy me?" Ray sat on the floor, across from her, not on a chair. Not above her, equal level. "I didn't buy you," he said calmly. "I rescued you." She narrowed her eyes. "You paid the traitor. I had no other way to get you out." She studied his face. It didn't look like a liar's, but she had been fooled before. Ray continued. "I was tracking that ship. I knew it had prisoners from the Varelian raid. I couldn't save them all. I'm sorry." Lyra looked down. Her fingers tightened. "They took my family. I know," Ray said. His voice was soft. "I saw the records. I saw the destruction." Silence stretched between them, just the quiet hum of the ship. Finally, Lyra asked, "What do you want from me?" Ray shook his head. "Nothing. No experiments, no scans, no samples. I'm not a scientist." She looked at him for a long moment. Then her eyes moved to his arm. There was a small device attached to it, a glowing wrist pad. It had a symbol she remembered from the raid. Her heart froze. "That mark," she said, standing slowly. "I've seen it before. On the uniforms of the soldiers who attacked us." Ray looked down at the device, then met her eyes. "You're right," he said. Lyra stepped back. "I was part of them once," he added. "Long ago." Her heart pounded. "But I left," Ray said. "The day I saw what they did to innocent people like you. You expect me to believe that?" She whispered. "No, I don't," he said. "Not yet." Lyra looked at the tray of food, then at the man who said he used to be her enemy. "What changed you?" she asked. Ray leaned back, his eyes looking past the ceiling. "A little girl, just like you. She cried in a burning village. I didn't help her. I still hear her screams when I sleep." Lyra didn't know what to say. For the first time, she saw something in his eyes. Pain. Real, deep human pain. He stood up slowly. "Back. There's a med room down the hall. Your leg is still bruised. I can show you the way." She didn't answer. Ray nodded. "You don't have to trust me, but at least take the food." He walked out. Lyra stared at the door for a long time after he left. She finally picked up the bread. It was warm, soft. She took a small bite. It tasted good, not poisoned, not fake, just food, for the first time in many days. Her stomach didn't hurt. She finished the meal slowly. Then, curiosity stronger than fear, she stepped out of the room. The hallway was quiet. Lights blinked softly along the walls. The ship was clean, organized, peaceful. Not what she expected from a human warship. She followed the signs to the med-dash room. As she stepped inside, the lights turned on automatically. The room smelled like herbs and metal, and on the wall, she saw something strange, a screen. It was showing a star map, but not just any map, it showed her home planet. Zoomed in, detailed her village, her forest, her house, and next to the map, she saw something even stranger, her name, written in human language. Lyra. Why did he know her name? She hadn't told him. Her hands trembled. Then she heard footsteps behind her. Ray? He stood at the door, looking at the screen. I studied your world, he said softly. Before it was attacked, I knew who they would take. I knew they'd target. Your village, I knew. They'd take you. Why? She asked. Because someone told me, Ray said. Someone who wanted to protect you. Who? He paused, then said one word. The word echoed in her ears. Your mother? Lyra didn't breathe. She didn't blink. Ray stood in the doorway of the medroom, silent, waiting. Finally, she found her voice. My mother is gone. She died during the raid. Ray looked down. That's what they wanted you to believe. Lyra stepped back, her hands shaking. No, I saw the flames. You saw destruction, not her body. Ray turned toward the screen on the wall. He touched it. The map changed now. It showed a secret base, hidden deep in the mountains of her planet. Blue lights blinked activity. She survived, Ray said. Barely. She was injured, captured, but she escaped, and she sent a message. Lyra's heart pounded. To you? He nodded. To Earth. She begged for help. She gave us names, locations. Yours was the first. Lyra felt dizzy. Everything she thought she knew shattered. Why would she trust a human? Ray stared at the map, because once she saved a young human soldier. That soldier was me. Lyra's breath caught, Ray continued. Many years ago, during a failed exploration mission, I crash-landed near her village. I was injured, scared, lost. Your people found me, fed me, healed me, and your mother protected me from the patrols. Lyra remembered a story, visitor from the stars. Her mother never said who it was. She never told me, Lyra whispered. She didn't want to, Ray said, to keep you safe. Lyra sat down on the edge of the bed, her head spun with questions. So, you knew me before we met? Knew your name, your village. I watched it burn in real time. Then why didn't you stop them? She asked, her voice sharp. Ray's jaw tightened. I tried, but I was just one man. They silenced me. Took my command, branded me a traitor. He rolled up his sleeve. A scar ran across his arm, deep, old, ugly. They didn't like humans who showed mercy, he said. Lyra stared at the scar, quiet. Ray took a step forward. I spent the last year building a ship off-grid, gathering data, tracking prisoners, planning how to save who I could. Save me, she said. Not with thanks, but with confusion. Your mother made me promise. Lyra felt her chest tighten. She had hated humans, feared them. And yet here was one hurt, hunted and still trying to help. But why me, she asked. There were others. Stronger, leaders, warriors. Ray gave a small smile. Mother believed you would be something more. Not a soldier, but a bridge. Lyra looked down. Her heart felt heavy. I'm not strong. Ray didn't argue. He just turned and pointed at the screen again. She also said this. He tapped. A message file. Lyra saw a shaky video recording. Her mother's face appeared. Bruised, tired, but alive. She was whispering urgently. Lyra, if you are seeing this, it means you're still breathing. That means he kept his promise. Trust him, my child. The world is not what it seems. We are not what we believed. The human race is not the enemy. The enemy is coming, and you must be ready. Lyra covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. The message ended silence. Ray stepped back, gave her space. Then he said, You have every right to hate me. Every reason to walk out of this room and never speak to me again. Lyra looked up. Her voice was soft. But I won't. Ray raised an eyebrow. Why not? Because I believe. Her and I want to believe you too. She stood slowly. Her eyes clear now, braver than before. What happens next? She asked. Ray's face turned serious. The enemy that attacked your people is just a pawn. Something worse is behind. Them. He walked to a drawer, pulled out a small black device. This holds a location, a signal. It only activates if someone like you accepts it. Why me? She asked. Because you are Varelian, and because your DNA holds a key. Lyra took the device. It glowed softly in her hand. What does it unlock? She asked Ray. Stared out the window, toward the stars. A door, he said. What kind of door? He looked back at her, one that no human has ever opened. But your mother said you could. Asterisk silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that feels too quiet, like the air is holding its breath. Lyra stood alone in the ship's control room. The message from her mother still echoed in her heart, but something had changed. The lights were dimmer now. The temperature slightly cooler, almost like the ship itself was watching. Ray had left to run system checks. Lyra paced slowly, her fingers brushing the metal walls. Ever since she activated the black device, the one that only she could, strange things had started happening. Lights flickered. Alarms blinked for a second, then stopped. Files on the main screen flashed, then disappeared before she could read them. Was the ship malfunctioning? Or was someone hiding something? She stopped in front of a closed panel. It looked out of place, almost too clean, too polished. She placed her hand on it, nothing. But as she turned to walk away, it clicked open by itself. Inside was a data core. Not part of the original Earth tech. It was alien, Varelian design, her people's technology. Hidden inside a human ship. Why? She reached in, touched the surface. It was warm. Alive suddenly, the screen in the control room clicked. A voice came through the speakers, not Ray's, ... Unauthorized access detected, Lyra. ... Target confirmed. ... She froze. Target confirmed. Confirmed. A red light blinked on the far side of the room. She backed away, earth sharp, her heart pounding. Footsteps echoed in the hall outside. Not Ray's. Heavier, slower, mechanical. She grabbed a small tool, the only thing nearby. The door opened, but it was Ray only. His face looked different, pale, tense. What are you doing here? He asked. His voice off, flat. I found this panel, Lyra said. It opened on its own. Ray didn't answer right away. His eyes scanned the room, not looking at her, but at the panel. Come, he said finally. We need to talk. In private. She followed, but slowly. They entered the armory, a room filled with metal crates, weapons, and gear. Ray turned. To her, you activated something? I need you to tell me exactly what. You said that device was safe, she whispered. It was, he said, until now. Then his face shifted again. Less tension. More regret. He sat on a crate, hands. On his knees, the act dropped. The real Ray returned, or so it seemed. I need to tell you something, he said. There's someone else on this ship. Lyra blinked. What? I didn't want you to know, but I had to bring one of them with me. Who? Ray looked ashamed. An informant from the species that attacked your planet. I promised. Him safety if he gave us names, locations, codes. You brought him here? Lyra stepped back. After everything they did? I know how it looks, Ray said. But he helped me find you. He risked his own life. Where is he now? Ray looked at the far wall, in the storage bay. Locked down. But what? Lyra asked. He's not responding. The cameras went offline an hour ago. She stared at him. She was starting to build cracking again. You didn't tell me, she said. You brought a killer into this ship and you didn't tell me. I was trying to protect you. No, Lyra said, her voice rising. You're trying. To protect your mission. They stood in silence. Then a blast rocked the ship. The walls shook. Lights flickered. Lyra fell. Ray grabbed the wall. "Storage bay breach," shouted the system. Ray ran to the terminal. His fingers flew across the controls. A camera screen blinked on. They both stared. The alien, so-called informant, was gone. Only a broken cage. And blood. Lots of blood. Ray's voice went cold. He wasn't working for me anymore. What do you mean? He activated a hidden signal. Lyra's heart dropped. He called someone. No, Ray said. He woke something up. Outside, the ship, in the blackness of space, a ripple moved. Not a ship, not a life form, something in between. Something ancient. Ray's eyes widened. He sent a beacon. To them, to who? Lyra whispered. Ray looked at her. The ones your mother warned us about. Space was never truly silent. Not when you were running from something older than stars. Inside the ship, Lyra stared at the swirling black energy just outside the view window. It had no shape, no heat, no signal, but it moved alive, watching. And it had come because of the informant, the one Ray brought aboard, the one who was now dead. Ray stood by the control panel, tapping commands, trying to block the signal, but the screen just blinked red again and again. Lockout, control. Override? Access denied. Lyra's voice cut through the tension. You said you brought him here to protect me. Ray didn't look at her. I did. She stepped closer. But now, your ship is under attack. Your systems are hacked, and that thing outside isn't here for me. Ray finally turned. His face looked tired, worn, but honest. He lied to me, Ray said. I thought he was helping us track them. Instead, he was leading them. Right here, Lyra's eyes narrowed. Or maybe, you lied to me. Ray said nothing. Lyra took a slow breath, then walked to the locked weapons cabinet. Open it, she said. Ray hesitated. Lyra, open it. After a pause, he did. Slowly, she took a small plasma pistol, lightweight, high charge. The kind used for fast, close-range damage. Ray didn't flinch. He just said, if you think I'm your enemy, shoot me now. She didn't raise the gun, but she didn't lower it either. I don't know who you are anymore, she whispered. Ray stepped back, giving her space. That makes two of us. They stood in silence. Then something changed. A faint hum filled the ship, not from the engines. This was deeper, like a voice inside the metal. Lyra dropped the pistol. Her hands flew to her ears. Do you hear? That? Ray nodded. It's not sound. It's dot pressure. Frequency. The ship is being scanned by that thing. Not just scanned, Ray said darkly. It's searching for something. Lyra's mind raced. She remembered the black device, the one only she could activate. The one linked to her mother's last message. It's looking for me, she said aloud. Ray looked at her. No. It's looking for what's inside you. A pause. What are you talking about? Ray took a slow breath. Something. You don't know. Something your mother never told you. Lyra took a step back. What now? She didn't just protect you. She changed you. Lyra's voice rose. No, my mother wasn't like that. She had no choice, Ray said. Your planet's biology. It was key to an ancient signal buried deep inside your DNA. Something that could unlock or destroy. Destroy what? Everything? Ray said. Lyra's chest felt tight. You're lying. No, I was there when she gave the message. She said if they ever got too close, you were the last defense. Lyra sat down hard. The walls felt like they were spinning. So what am I? She whispered. A weapon. No, Ray said, walking slowly toward her. You're a choice. She looked up. Choice for what? Ray opened his hand. Inside. It was a crystal chip shaped like a star, glowing blue. Your mother hid this inside me, he said, for years, till I could find you. Lyra took it. It felt warm. Like it recognized her, Ray said. That chip is your real birthright, not the village, not the blood, not the fear. Lyra looked at it, and then she heard it, a voice soft and deep. Not human, not alien, echoing in her mind. She is awake. Her eyes went wide. Ray looked at her, his face suddenly pale. What did you hear? You didn't hear it? She asked. No. Lyra looked back at the crystal. It was glowing brighter now, and then she understood. It was never about the UC informant, never about the beacon, not even about Ray. The real reason they came was her. She stood up. We have to leave, she said. Ray nodded. Where? Lyra stared at the map. Her hand pointed to a star far across the galaxy. A dead system. No known life, no colonies. But the signal inside her pulled in that direction. I don't know why, she whispered. But I have to go there. Ray started prepping the jump. As he worked, Lyra asked quietly, If this is a trap, will you still follow me? Ray looked at her. I already did, he said, and the ship jumped. The stars looked different here, darker, fewer, as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Lyra stood at the front window of the ship, staring at a dead system, no planets. No moons, no signs of life, just a broken sun, long collapsed into a dull red ember, barely glowing. And yet, something pulled her here, not with logic, but with memory. Not hers, but someone else's. Something else's. Behind her. Ray finished. The calculations for a deep scan? The ship's engines hummed low like they were nervous. You're sure about this? He asked, not looking up. Lyra didn't answer. She raised the crystal chip, the one Ray gave her, the one her mother left behind. It vibrated softly in, her hand pulsing like a second heartbeat. Yes, she said. Ray finally turned. There's no record of this system. Not in human archives. Not in Varelian history. Because it was erased, Lyra said quietly. Buried on purpose. Ray frowned. You're remembering something, aren't you? Lyra nodded. But they're not my memories. The ship suddenly jolted. Lights flickered. Something unseen had pulled them out of drift mode. Ray ran to the console. No ships. No signals. No gravity field. Lyra turned toward the window and saw it. A structure hidden in the shadows. Not a station. Not a city. A temple carved into a floating rock the size of a small planet. Ancient, beautiful, covered in markings. From multiple species, including her own. And Ray's. How is that possible? Ray whispered. This place is older than Earth's first fire. Lyra stepped forward. Crystal in her hand burned brighter. It's not a place for ships, she said. It's a place for decisions. Ray watched her carefully. What kind of decisions? Lyra turned to him. The kind that end things, or begin them. They landed on the temple's surface. It had no doors, but as Lyra walked near the wall, the stone opened with a whisper. Reacting to her presence, she stepped inside. Ray followed, but cautiously. The air was warm. Silent inside, a long hall stretched ahead. Floating symbols lit up as Lyra walked. Each symbol showed a memory, not hers, not Ray's, but from species across the galaxy. War, peace, extinction, rebirth. This place remembers everything, Ray said, almost in awe. Lyra didn't reply. Her eyes were fixed at the end of the hall, where a round pedestal waited as she reached it. The crystal floated out of her hand and placed itself on the pedestal. A beam of light shot upward, and a figure appeared. Not real, not alive. A projection, ancient, tall, and glowing. It looked at Lyra. She has come, it said. Ray took a step back, hand on his weapon. The last carrier of the key, the figure said. The last voice of balance. Lyra spoke, her voice trembling. What am I supposed to do? Decide. Decide what? Whether this galaxy lives in fire or begins again in light. Ray stepped forward. What does that mean? Long ago, your kind and hers were one, split by time. One chose emotion, one chose order, but neither could hold peace, so we hid the key. In the bloodline that holds both, the figure pointed to Lyra. She is both. Ray's eyes widened. Your mother knew. That's why she protected you. The figure turned to Lyra again. You may release what sleeps beneath this system, or seal it forever. Lyra's voice broke. And if I release it, you become more than Varelian. More than human, but you will never go back to either. She turned to Ray. He looked at her with no fear, no command, just faith. I followed you this far, he said. I'll follow you through this too. Lyra looked at her hands. At the past burned into her memories. The screams, the fire, the hope. She stepped forward and touched the light. White exploded. Her body lifted into the air. The markings of her people glowing across her skin. Her hair turned silver. Her veins lit up with energy, not like a weapon, like a star being born inside her. She landed softly. Ray caught her before she fell. Her voice was calm now, clear-eyed. Saw everything, she said, and there's still a chance to save them. All of them. But only if we stop what's coming next. Ray looked confused. I thought this was it. Lyra shook her head. No, she whispered. This was just the gate. She was no longer just Lyra, not Varelian, not human. Something new walked with her now, forged in light, memory, and fire. As their ship rose from the dead system, the stars moved out of the way. Ray had never seen anything like it. Space bent. Around them, time slowed. His ship, once just steel and wire, now pulsed with energy it couldn't contain. Because Lyra wasn't a passenger anymore. She was the core. She stood at the center of the deck. Her silver-white eyes locked on the map in front of her. A soft glow surrounded her skin. The star crystals still floated beside her like a moon. Orbiting a planet, Ray spoke carefully. Where to? Lyra didn't answer right away. Then she pointed at a sector near the edge of known space. It's already begun, she said. Ray blinked. What has the invasion? He turned to the screen. A massive fleet. Thousands of ships, unknown designs, alien symbols and shapes that looked grown, not built, was moving toward the Varelian homeworld. They're not coming to conquer, Lyra whispered. They're coming to erase. Ray's face turned cold. Then we make our stand. Scene shift. Outer orbit. Varelian World 2. 12 hours later. Panic ruled the skies. The alien swarm had arrived, black as smoke, endless, moving like a living ocean.
Ow.
The defense grid was failing. Varelian ships were elegant but unprepared. Their peaceful people had no idea how to stop a force that wanted silence, not surrender. And then something else entered orbit. Ray's ship. It looked tiny beside the swarm. One human ship. One Varelian girl. One impossible hope. Inside, Lyra stood still. She didn't blink, didn't breathe. And then she spoke a word in a language older than galaxies. The crystal flared, the ship responded, and from it, light spread like a wave, cracking through enemy tech, stabling their systems without firing a single shot. The enemy ships froze in place. Ray watched the scanners go blank. What did you do? I gave them a choice, Lyra said. The enemy flagship cracked open. A creature stepped forward. Not a soldier, being made of smoke and teeth and memory. The voice that had whispered in her mind now stood in front of her. You were meant to destroy, said Lyra, stepped forward. No, I was meant to choose. You choose peace? It hissed. They will betray you again. They always do. Maybe, Lyra said, but this time they won't betray me alone. Ray stepped beside her, gun in hand, calm, brave. Humanity is done hiding, he said. We fight beside our allies now. Behind them. Transmissions opened. Hundreds of human ships entered the sector. Ray had called for backup weeks ago, quietly. Without telling Lyra, he believed. Just in case. Now they were here. Lyra turned to the enemy leader. You can retreat, or I will erase every part of your code from the stars. The creature laughed. You think you're a god? No, she said. I'm a daughter. Then she raised her hand, and the stars responded. Final scene. After the battle, the war lasted minutes, not days, because when Lyra awakened fully, nothing could stand in her way. But she didn't destroy. She sealed them. Every enemy ship turned to dust and vanished, not in death, but in exile. Locked out of the galaxy forever. The skies were clear again. Varelians gathered in the open fields of their healing world. They didn't look at Ray with fear anymore. They looked at him as the man who stood beside their starborn child, and Lyra, no longer a girl in chains, now walked free among her people. But her eyes still searched the sky. Ray stood beside her. You okay? He asked. She nodded. I feel like myself. And who's that now? She smiled gently. Someone who forgives. Someone who remembers.
Bye.
Someone who protects. Ray nodded. What now? She looked up. There are others like me. Others hiding. Others afraid. Ray smiled. Then I guess we find them. She looked at him, her voice soft but full of power. We don't find them, Ray. Free them. They stepped onto the ship once more, not as soldier and prisoner, but as partners. As the stars stretched open once again, the galaxy whispered a new name for the girl they once feared, the one who chose. HFY, humanity fought beside her, not against her.